marketers and happiness enthusiasts. Another exciting episode of the Spark and Ignite Your Marketing podcast. Today, we're diving into the wonderful world of laughter and happiness, where statistics show that laughter can reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, by up to 39%, contributing to a significant improvement in overall mood and happiness levels. Lord knows we all need that. Also, employees in workplaces with positive atmosphere, including frequent laughter, are 12% more productive. So buckle up and get ready to embark on a journey filled with smiles, giggles, and a sprinkle of joy with our very special guest, a clown, Katy Bee, a powerhouse in the realm of well-being. As a certified life and neurolinguistic programming coach, she specializes in play and happiness, applied improvisation, and therapeutic humor. Katy is on a mission to spread positivity and uplift spirits. She's the founder of the Joy First Foundation and is currently on the tour of joy across the U.S. Katy also co-hosts the podcast Laughter Box for the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. Additionally, she holds the title of Certified Chief Wellbeing Officer and is on her way to becoming a certified humor professional. Katy's expertise extends to teaching joyful and laughter yoga, leveraging these modalities to combat bullying and suicide in both youth and adults. She also shares her knowledge through workshops on improv, physical theater, clowning, and mime, enriching lives with every step she takes. Welcome, Katy.
Hi, Beverly. You'll excuse my stuffy nose sound. That's because of nose. My nose is a little red today.
That was a cold too. So I'm right now. Rosie, and who's yours? So let's do your fascinating journey and explore the impact of joy and laughter.
Okay.
Can you share a little bit about what led you into play, happiness, and entrepreneurship, and like how it all began for you?
Yeah, I'm going to get a little serious now.
The nose.
Because I'm pretty serious about joy and play and fun and this. Yeah. So what led? I was told life shouldn't be fun growing up. Life's not fun. I'd go to work and we'd be working our butts off and I'd be wandering around going, no fun, no PHUN, no fun. And I tried to bring some optimism and light to just every job I've had, everywhere I've been. And for years, it was like people weren't terribly interested. But I created things like the aerial action team where we'd rappel off historical architecture in San Francisco as clumsy ninjas and string crowd. And that's where things really started to focus on fun and the importance of play way in the 90s, before we ever thought about how important play is for adults and how much we've lost in our development in terms of it stops at 7. That's the end of your fun. No more playtime. Time to grow up. And that's not true. Science shows we develop throughout our life. I'm involved with the Eastside Institute, which is all about development and social therapy. And I went to clown school, actually went to circus school in Spain, became a street performer. And when I succeeded in making my living hanging from a tree as Bugs Bunny diving into a bucket, or a dead lady under a meteorite, I said, I don't think what they said about life not being fun, I don't think that was correct. I think life can be fun.
Have you always been like that when you were a kid? Were you super dramatic and like always looking for the laugh? Were you that in school?
No. So when I was 5 or something, I was in a dance performance and my mom had to bring me my lunch on the stage. I refused to leave the stage. So there's that.
Okay. You're like, this is my place. This is where I belong.
Yeah. But I was actually a sick kid. I was sick at 6 months old. I had asthma when I was 3. They thought I had cancer when I was 7. I went through a lot as a kid. And as a result, I'm actually a highly sensitive being. I can get overstimulated. I have a little neurodivergence, probably from I don't know where from. Maybe that 6-month reaction to a vaccine. I'm very emotional, actually. I can cry really almost too easily, and I can get stuck in what life was like growing up. It was hard, and I couldn't do things the other kids could do, and that really put some stuff in my head that made gave me a lot of limiting beliefs, told me I was never gonna succeed, and I've been fighting that fight my whole life.
So this was your way to combat that or counteract or just
Yeah,
accept
I
that?
think so. Indirectly, I follow my gut a lot, and my gut has really driven this train, and I follow what feels good, and it's really worked for me. I
When
will
did
s
you start following the gut? When was the moment? Was there like a spark that said, this feels good and I want more of this? Was there a moment where you like was really honest with yourself about what you wanted to create for your life?
I knew I always wanted to be a performer, and I knew that Hollywood and people, told me no. All through high school, all the way up, anything traditional told me no. So, in my late 20s, I decided if they won't let me give me the power, give me this opportunity, I'm gonna do it myself. And I started meditating in my early 20s. That was big to start
Mhm.
hearing myself. I read The Celestine Prophecy, I read The Secret, I read all those books in the '90s. Those also fed, yep, a lot of
Mhm.
that knowledge. And I think it was really when I started to take the bull by the horns and say, "You know what? If I just keep getting told no, then I'm gonna find the way to do it myself." And
That's like a very powerful statement. And I think for business owners, we hear no a lot. So it's part of our life, whether the people think they don't you can't do it or that that client or that customer isn't right for you, whatever the case is, we hear no a lot. And either to it's a like a form of resilience, I believe, Katie. Either you take the no and you like embrace it or you let it like beat you down. And there's times where I'm better at that than others.
sure. Well,
So
yeah,
yeah.
I definitely have better days. But what's amazing is the science that I have learned over the last, say, 4 years has really confirmed everything for me. The science behind laughter, the science behind optimism and positive psychology and Marty Seligman. It is feeding the Chief Wellbeing Officer program where now I'm a facilitator. All of this where toxic positivity is one thing, but true positivity, true positive psychology tells us we can cope with the difficult, but our body benefits scientifically much more by trying to choose more joy and choose the positive and choose the laughter. You can't have cortisol and your happy chemicals at the same time. So when you're up here with cortisol and you're stressed out, using laughter raises up those endorphins and lowers your cortisol. It lowers your pain. It lowers so many things that science is proving now, whether you laugh for the health of it and you laugh on purpose or you laugh because the group is laughing or you've heard a joke, all of that makes a big difference.
So you found something that your gut believed in that was backed by science. So
Yes.
how did you get to the path of science? Like here you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This makes me happy. Now what where did the path go and veer more toward the science side of things? Like how did you find that?
So during COVID, when this clown was shut down, I created what I called a tunnel of joy. I was isolated, I was lonely, I wanted people. So I went and I found the Applied Improv Network, which is improvisation for science, for helping problems. It's Second City or Chicago style improv, except you're doing it for a purpose that is about solving problems and learning more about the science behind it. I joined the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor, where they're all about the science. They've been around for 40 years, and it was started by nurses, and they wanted to know the science behind their particular style of humor. And in 40 years, now we have comedians, clowns, jugglers, laughter yogis, other laughter folks that have PhDs in behavioral psychology and did all the research for us on laughter. That's where the science is coming from, is those two organizations. And I went to conferences like the Funny Business Boot Camp with TH and Play, Perform, Learn, and Grow, which was a conference that's usually in Europe that was online at the time. That was beautiful and primarily in Greece. But again, playing, a little spirituality, a little mythology, a lot of play, a lot of movement. And I became a laughter yogi through Laughter University Online.
So I've heard of goats in yoga being a little more unique, but I haven't heard until I read your bio of laughter and joy yoga. Can you even, is it odd for me to even ask like an example of like how you would do like a chair yoga with laughter? Could you even do a moment with us or?
Sure. So if you're sitting in your chair,
yeah,
kind of plant your feet on the ground.
Okay.
And raise your arms up and take a deep breath in. And exhale, sending all of your stress and worry out to the horizon for the earth to recycle it into joy for you. Take another big deep breath in. And now we're just going to laugh it out with a quiet giggle. And now we're going to imagine, as we're sitting in our office chair, that we got a piece of mail that we didn't want. It's a bill. It's a summons. It's that piece of mail you really didn't want to have arrive.
Yeah.
And we are going to open that mail.
Okay.
And we are going to look at it. And we're going to laugh. There you go. That's a very small example. Now, joyful yoga, which I'm in the process of experimenting with, is I'm trained in Kundalini. I'm certified in Kundalini, Hatha, children's, yin, and laughter yoga.
Okay.
So I'm combining, first of all, children's yoga. They sing songs, they do improv, they laugh, they renamed all the poses, like easy seat is crisscross applesauce.
Nice.
And I said, why are we not doing this for adults? Why?
So accessible, making it so accessible.
Oh, so fun. So I'm taking Kundalini, which is energy-based yoga calisthenics. It's very repetitive, a lot of fire breath, a lot of lung cleaning goodness. Taking that, the children's yoga and the laughter yoga, and a little bit of hatha, and I'm putting it all together into a class that I hope will raise vibrations, bring those endorphins, and have us leaving more bonded and more joyful after an hour. So the other thing I want to say too about laughter, joy, play, those are bonding. So you're in your business. Harvard Business Review just posted an article about the importance of play and fun at work. If you think work needs to be dry, you're doing a disservice to your employees. If you think you need to micromanage and keep everybody in line, you're doing damage to your business and your productivity and your turnover.
And your brand.
And your brand. Right. Because with all the turnover, how do you keep your brand going? With people walking around feeling like they're just in a grind.
That customer experience is going to be horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we need And play just sounds like something that you shouldn't be doing as an adult. And I 100%.
Did that? Who said that? Like,
That's right.
I don't
Yeah,
subscribe to that.
you're right.
No. And even the way I parent is very playful. I think that children need to play, be played with. That is like a thing you need to do with them. And you can teach through play. It's very powerful. And they don't even realize they're learning to play, right?
Yeah.
But I even with my staff, and my husband's notorious for during an argument to try to make me laugh or something. And sometimes
Awesome.
that's a little infuriating. But
Sure.
it usually does get us to laugh and diffuse the situation. And really, why are we so upset about this? Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's really nothing. So he's notorious for being what I call a clown. And since we
Yep.
have known him since high school, he was the class clown and has not, in many
Changed.
ways, he's matured, but he's not stopped that like inner essence of himself. So yes,
Yeah.
I think that playfulness. I even remember, Katie, when I was younger, I wanted a husband who, if I threw a pancake at him, he would throw it back.
Nice.
That was a legit item on my list. Like, most people are like, he has to be tall, he has to be handsome. My list was, if I throw a pancake, he better throw it back. Like, he has to be playful. So I feel like that sense of play is just, life is short.
That's right.
Life,
Yes. Yep. And by the way,
really,
one of the best tools for arguments is kazoos. I think everyone in the world needs to have a kazoo. And when you start to
Okay.
argue with your partner, you break out the kazoos and you argue talking through the kazoo, not laugh. I'll tell you, we all have stuff we're not talking about. Every single person on this earth is dealing with something they don't tell everybody.
COVID highlighted some of that. People
Yeah.
were more apt to be vulnerable and talk about it on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. They were talking about mental health and what they were struggling with alone and in the tunnel. I feel like I think it's a really good thing for my child.
Yeah.
In a world where we're more accepting of people who have and struggle.
Absolutely.
And can be a little bit more authentic about it as opposed to hiding and shame. By doing the things that you are doing and the science that's being done, it is revealing it in a way that I think is extremely positive. So the power of that is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of off track here. Let me bring it back in.
Yeah.
So we get to know you a little bit better, and I think how your journey started and what's important to you. So can you highlight a moment or experience that sparked? Let's do. Maybe you've talked a little bit about like the theories of science. What are you seeing as the trend of like where things are going? Those sparks that are opportunities for you going forward. What do you see as the trends that are happening in this space?
So after COVID, I started the Joy First Foundation, and I'm currently on the Tour of Joy, which right now I'm in a van. I live in a van, and I'm 100% on tour throughout the United States.
Where are you right now?
I am currently in Rockport, Texas, experimenting with. For a year, I moved every 2 days. So I'm experimenting now with staying a few months in one place to see how I can impact the community. And so far, it's been very interesting. And joyful yoga is one of those things that I found a place that was interested, and we're going to go for it and see how it turns out. And then that'll be something I can offer on the road as I'm moving. I also do video editing on the road, by the way. That's one of the ways I keep my personal self moving. But joy first. So what have I noticed? So on the Tour of Joy, it started an experiment of just acknowledging everyone who took care of us during COVID. The grocery store workers, the staff at senior centers, staff at hospitals, fire, police, all those folks, right? I would walk up to random strangers and loudly thank them for being alive, thank them for getting us through COVID. They didn't get raises. Let's think about it. What happened to these folks? They didn't get unemployment. They didn't get a raise. They risked their health every day. They risked getting horrible things from people that didn't want to respect. I don't want to go too far into it, but you know what I'm talking about. So my first purpose was to approach all those people and say thank you. Give them a standing ovation. And I had some little things like these little 3D printed joys and clown noses and kazoos. And so I would give them a little gift. I noticed the minute I approached someone to say thank you, a lot of them started to cry and
Yeah.
started telling me stories.
Yeah.
And they weren't stories about joy, they were stories of their struggles. So I would listen, and then we would try and raise their vibration up a little bit. And I would try and leave them the way I call it, it's a crack in. If I can open this door just a little bit and give a little bit of light, then they have the power to open the door further. What we noticed was there was a reciprocal effect. So not only are they getting a moment of joy, I'm getting a moment of joy, and there's a ripple effect. So anyone within hearing or seeing distance
Yeah.
of that moment of joy also had a smile on their face, also received something, also reacted to what they were seeing in a positive way. And we found that it was exponential.
It gave me goosebumps when you said the ripple effect. Power of that. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
A moment, just a simple moment,
Yep.
and the power of that. That you did it for them, but then you had the benefit of it in
Yes.
coming back. Anybody with an earshot or visual shot also, and I'm sure they went home and they talked about it as well. So further rippled out.
Yeah, so we witnessed that a couple times. I was with a laughter yogi friend of mine in Venice, Florida. We were at a farmer's market. We were mostly focused on seniors. And one woman was in her 90s. And I had these little 3D printed little joys. So we did a moment of joy for her. We handed her the little joy. We thanked her and we went on our way to do more joyful moments. And as we made ourselves around this area, we saw her. She wasn't sitting in the same place. She'd crossed the street and was sitting at a bench across the street. She was handing her joy to someone else and telling them all about the moment of joy. And we said, right there, that's the goal. Call it joy it forward.
That's so appropriate. It's been 3 years since COVID. Are you still focusing on the COVID workers, or are you focusing
No.
on just general people?
No. So what's happened is in my travels, I talk to everybody, and I have friends everywhere from travels years before and things. And someone said, the kids, I'm a teacher and it was summer. She said, my kids are judging each other based on their parents' political beliefs. They're bullying each other based on things they shouldn't even know anything about. And I said, let me come in. Let me do something and see if we can make something different, or at least offer an opportunity for change. So I called the program Building Bridges, and it was with not only the students, but the staff and the teachers that were available. And I offered laughter yoga, and I talked about the improv mindset, which we can go back to. And then we did a compliment car wash. So what that is, an improv game where people line up like a dance line, and one person goes through, and as they're going through, everyone is shooting compliments at. And I said, we all know what it feels like to be criticized. Let's remind ourselves what it feels like to be complimented. And we have a choice whether or not to criticize or compliment the person in front of us. How about if we choose a compliment? So I noticed that people didn't like going through the dance line. Yes.
It's a spark. Ultimately, it's a spark that grew into a blaze, right? But that's the beauty part of these. And I think when you're working on a passion project, it really means something to you. It's extremely authentic and it's quick to catch fire. So
agreed.
When you're on your right track, you know that's what you're supposed to do. It feels right. It is right. That's sitting in that comfort of what is right is good. Having the opportunities open up to you.
Beverly, I'm in need of grant money. We take donations at joyfirst.org. You can donate through Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal on the website. You can join the newsletter on the website. Again,
Are you recruiting people to help you with the movement? I feel like you don't
yeah.
have to be a clown. Yeah.
No.
So how can people even participate in the joy forward movement?
Tagging Joy First Foundation on YouTube, on Facebook, on any social media is extremely helpful for us. Helping to find funders. We're looking for board members, and that's to help with the skeletal base of the project. But I'm also recruiting Joy First ambassadors, and there's a whole program that I'm hoping to put on Udemy that it follows the acronym respectfully on how to approach strangers and move the movement forward by giving joyful moments. And you can do it in your own way. What I find is someone donated these cute cards. They're adorable. And I designed them. She said, "Here, I want you to make these. I see this thing. I want you to design 100, I just want you to design them." So she's given me 1,200 of these cards. This one is just a little light for you. And on the back, it's all the Joy First information. So these are easy ways to give a little joy.
I
Or
love it.
I found tokens of appreciation at a dollar store. And so these are like, they say thank you for everything and
Huh?
token of appreciation. And so even just having a trinket, and if you can videotape it or take a picture with the person you're inspired to give a joyful moment to, you can tag Joy First, and we would love that. I have about 8 Joy First ambassadors so far that I'm still in the process of training, but they've been improvisers. So together we've gone places and just spread the joy. So a lot of my travels, I've stopped at many improvisers, therapeutic humorists, and social therapists' houses, and I would camp in front of their house, and then they would join me. I'd get a little window into their life, which was interesting, and they would join me on joyful moments. And a lot of times people were a little shy, so they'd usually hold the camera while I did it, but they still got the benefit. And I find people are afraid of talking to strangers, so that's okay. So, what if you leave a token of appreciation or a little note on the table of your wait staff so that when they collect their tip, they see a
Mhm.
note from you and a
Mhm.
compliment, or you're able to do it personally? Think about, how can you make everyone that comes in contact with you feel a little better today?
I love that. Now let's uncover the secrets to igniting her marketing and business success with joy and laughter. So you spoke a little bit about the cards that you have, but they're not really branded to you. They're not really specific to. I mean, one of them had the joy on the back of it.
Oh, they all do.
Little compliment things that those are from the dollar store. But what has
Yeah.
been your most effective marketing tactic for your tour of joy? What has helped you the most?
Actually, the most, let's see, the most interacted post on TikTok was I went around a St. Louis Walmart and gave joyful moments to all of the staff. And some were more playful than others, but there were 2 points where we got a lot of traffic. And one was 2 ladies where I gave them joyful moments and told them they could have anything they wanted in life just because they exist. And we had a big hug at the end. And people said, "Can I have some of that?" And part of what I want to do, part of my plan is to take that impetus, right? And start making individualized videos and videos that are talking out to the public, giving joyful moments. Also, there was one guy in Walmart who, when you watch the video on TikTok and YouTube and all the socials, I think, he gets very emotional and he asked us to turn the camera off. So we did. His mom was homeless. And he was working 2 jobs to try and get her out of homelessness and take care of himself. And it was the biggest wake-up call for me because that really showed he was so joyful and friendly when we walked up. It so showed me what people are dealing with in the background. And then you know what I thought to myself? Does Walmart know what their employee is dealing with every day? Do they care? As a chief well-being officer who is now trained to guide businesses through the Surgeon General's well-being at work framework and cities and countries and communities, excuse me. I think Walmart needs to know what's going on with their employees. And I think they need to pay more attention and bring some more fun.
So Undercover Boss has this segment where they connect.
Oh, go on.
And
Yeah.
and they oftentimes they're struggling with something, whether they're trying to put themselves through school or they have a sick mother or something. I feel like it's very human, and the undercover boss had no idea that was happening, and somehow supports them at the end of the show, which always makes me cry because I feel like that's the human connection that we need. And as a boss myself, I feel like it's part of our responsibility to take care of our people. That is the well-being of our people, and we're connected in more ways than just business. And so it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's truly beautiful. And you're highlighting that aspect of it from your perspective. You accidentally figured it out with him. Like, it wasn't like you intended. So what's your problem? Because he probably would have said, I'm not going to talk to you, but you put it in such a positive way.
Gratitude. Thanks for being alive today. That's my first line. And it makes somebody giggle. I've had people say, yeah, I'm still alive after all I've been. And immediately they have a reaction to that phrase. And then when you think about it, who else is giving us gratitude for simply being alive? Nobody.
Maybe on your birthday.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
But you matter. There's a man who started an organization with a number of friends in Uganda, I believe. No, Tanzania. That was a You Matter campaign. And it made a huge difference to all of the people that they ended up interacting with. And those words, we do not hear them enough. And I think some of whatever, if we're in some kind of a shift, I know it's like black and white, right? It's really, we are having war. People are starving to death right now. There's things I can't control that. I can't stop that. But I can acknowledge the person in front of me because they exist.
And ultimately, there are costs involved in what you're doing for sure. But for me to do that to another person is free. Like that.
That's right.
Cost is simply getting over yourself in some way, maybe to say that.
Yeah.
Your shyness or whatever. But it's free. It's not something that you have to pay for.
Not at all. You can just notice that, oh, look, Beverly, I love your sweatshirt. It's so cute.
You're so kind when we first got on. So you take a moment to acknowledge the person when you first interact.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Right.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
So I gotta believe like what you're doing is like storytelling on such a deep level, which is marketing storytelling, and authenticity is so important. So you're doing video, which is powerful, especially right now. If you're not doing video, you are missing huge opportunity for your business. You have to package the story in a way. You're having these really unique, very authentic experiences. So how do you have a coordinated team that you're using, or are you just simply allowing it to flow as it happens and sharing it as it happens? Have you really thought through the strategy that you're using for that?
No, my goal right now is followers.
Okay.
So follow Joy First Foundation on TikTok, on YouTube, on all the socials. You know what's really funny is on YouTube, the most traffic comes from shorts of me juggling random things in random moments in random stores. So the first one was I found these dog toys that are pigs and I juggled them and they make noise as I juggle them. And that got like almost 5,000 hits on YouTube immediately. I follow the trends. So every once in a while, I'll add another juggling video because I know those are getting fed out there. I've been a video editor since the 90s, and I've worked in social media for other people since 2015. Now it's about mine, and I'm doing it the way I wish all businesses would do it, which is I take a little bit of risk. I have an improv mindset. So our improv mindset says the first thing you say is yes, and you build on what's offered. So when my audience says, "Hey, we really like these juggling photo or videos," I say, "All right, I'll spatter them in with the joyful moments, and then you can enjoy those while get a little bit of the other part of this project." Another thing about an improv mindset is don't be afraid to fail. Sometimes I make a video and I put it on YouTube and it gets no hits for some reason. I don't know why, time of day, who knows. I just keep going because I want to give my audience what they want to see. And if that means brand awareness comes from juggling random things and random Rite Aids, then that's what it is. But I'm getting the brand. I don't pay for followers. I'm going to let it grow organically, and it might be slower, but I don't lose people. If I have to take a break for a minute, I don't lose 100,000 followers. I might lose a couple, but I keep all my organic followers.
The power of stories, power of video,
Yes.
the power of persistence, the power of practice. Because the more you do it, the better you get. All lessons, right? Those are great lessons. I have a little second segment in the podcast called the lightning round, where I ask you a few rapid fire questions to kind of inspire other business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs to maybe learn something from people you find interesting or the things you find interesting. So are you ready for the rapid fire, the lightning round?
I am ready.
Okay. So what is your favorite way to connect and network?
Talking to strangers.
What is your favorite business or marketing book?
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was very influential to me back in the day. The Element, Finding Your Element, is a great book. Right now, The Humor Habit by Paul Osenkup. I highly recommend it for everyone. He just published. It's going to be out in April. He's doing, you can see him doing all sorts of press on the internet right now. He's a keynote speaker and a stand-up comic, and he's amazing.
What's your favorite podcast that you have to, you binge, like you love it?
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
What is your favorite business tool or app that you have to have on your phone or with you all the time?
Toggle. Toggle is when I'm working for other people doing video editing or whatever, marketing or graphics. I use Toggle. Toggl. It's a timekeeper and a reporting app that allows me to send my client my timesheet, basically. If it's project-based, that's a little bit different, but if it's hourly, that's how I keep track of my hours. It's one of my favorite apps.
What's your favorite source of inspiration?
Oh, my gut. And Steve Jobs, Stay Curious, Think Different. Those have been lifelong influences for me. And kindness and improvisation are my number one sources of inspiration.
I think people really inspire you too, like just the connection for sure. Who's your favorite entrepreneur to follow? You mentioned Steve Jobs. Is there anybody else you really admire and inspire you?
Yes, there's a comedian lady named Toni, Toni Nagy. She is hilarious. She's doing very different work that is so full of joy and truth. She will talk about difficult subjects while she does this impromptu interpretive dance behind it, and she will have you laughing your socks off.
I love like hearing what people are using and what inspires them. And I think we all find inspiration in different ways, tools and apps that help us differently. We're going to shift gears to our last segment, which is the Blaze Forward segment. And it really is about giving entrepreneurs an actionable strategy they can use right now. Like today, after this podcast, I can go and I can do this. What is one easy, actionable step, Katie, that a small business entrepreneur or somebody who wants to start a business and somehow this conversation has inspired them to take the next step that they can do today to spark their unique opportunity and maybe ignite their marketing?
Follow your gut. Experiment. Say yes to opportunities. Take what comes to you and learn from it and try it out. And if it doesn't work, Helen Abel from Harvard is the mother of mindfulness. When things don't work out, reestablish your goals.
Refocus.
Reframe. If you Google failure and some of the biggest entrepreneurs out there today, they all failed. Every one of them.
Every single book starts with this thing happened. Michael Jordan talks about
Yeah.
all the shots he missed versus the shots he
Right.
actually made.
One of my favorite books is The Peaceful Warrior, which is about a gymnast who has an accident and accidentally finds himself in this place with a philosopher who has all the answers in life and how to fight your way through with resilience. That was a very popular book and he did extremely well. He was an Olympic gymnast, right? Then he crashed in a motorcycle accident, and I think this is in order, and he was injured horribly, and he ended up writing another book called No Ordinary Moments, which is how he rose to the top in The Peaceful Warrior, and then he crashed. And No Ordinary Moments tells us what to do when we're at the bottom to help us get back up at the top.
Those stories of human like coming back from something like that they are extremely inspirational and powerful. I believe in the power of the human spirit and how much we can affect others with that. I would just really want to take a moment to say thank you, Katie, for joining us today. I found this conversation to be extremely enlightening, and I encourage people to explore the transformative power of laughter and happiness in their lives and to remember that it's never too late to add more joy to your life. So thank you for tuning in. And until next time, keep laughing and spreading happiness everywhere you go.